Today I want to talk to you about implied you or you understood. This is a very common error I see in students writing. Sometimes students use implied you when they don't even know that they're doing it. Sometimes students ask questions directly of the reader. This is not appropriate in academic writing. In fact, it changes the tone from academic immediately to informal, and everything academic must be formal. Implied you is used in the imperative case to issue a command. For example, a parent might tell a child, "Go to your room." The subject of this sentence is you, which is implied, meaning that it's not written in the sentence. But we know when someone says, "Go to your room," that you are the person who it needs to happen to. So it would be equally correct to say, "You go to your room." Many students use implied you without even knowing it. Have you ever written an introduction where you're trying to tell a story so your reader can imagine a specific scene? This is very common in attention getters. Sometimes these sentences begin with phrases such as "remember growing up" or "imagine a beautiful lake." Since there is no subject performing the action, you have written in the imperative case, which is implied you, which is inappropriate for academic writing. So the main problem here is that you've accidentally used implied you. So when you go through your paper and say you search for the second person, and you do a search for you, it won't come up. You'll have to actually go in and read it and make sure that you see a subject in every sentence. So how do you fix it? It's actually pretty simple. Check your sentence to make sure that there is a subject. If you cannot locate a subject, it's very likely that you've used implied you. And then you just need to add a subject to the sentence, but make sure you don't use the word you. So you could make it I or he or she, or you could use someone else's name. Any subject will do. First person or third person pronouns or the actual names of people are fine. The third person, which is he, she, it, or they, is preferable in academic writing. But if you are writing a personal narrative, then the first person, like I, me, mine, we, ours, is fine. If you do not know which one to use, ask your professor. Some professors are very stern about whether or not they accept first-person essays, so make sure you ask your teacher. So, correcting storytelling in introductory paragraphs. This is where I see the implied you go the most awry. Create a fictitious person. Own the memory. As long as your professor thinks it's okay for you to use the word, the first person, then it can be your memory, it can be your setting, or simply describe the setting. So here's an example of an essay or an introduction that uses the second person and implied you. Imagine going to a beautiful lake on a spring day. The air is crisp with a warm breeze tickling the trees. Everything is in bloom, and you can smell the green grass and sweet flowers. You are alone when you hear a soft crack. Something or someone has stepped on a branch. The hair stands up on the back of your neck as you slowly turn around and see a tall man wearing dark glasses and a hooded jacket. He does not smile, and you fear for your safety. Knowing just a few self-defense moves may be the difference between life and death. The only sentence here that has an implied you is this very first one. Imagine going to a beautiful lake on a spring day. There's no subject here, so we know that we've used implied you. So to fix it, we would need to put a subject in. Other places that we've made an error in this introduction is when we have used you. Okay, this is not appropriate because it makes your essay informal, and all academic writing is formal. So here's a rewrite of that paragraph using first person. As I stood on the shores of the lake, I felt the crisp air and warm, gentle breeze blowing through my hair. Flowers were beginning to bloom, and I could smell the sweet blossoms and fresh grass. I heard a soft crack behind me. Something or someone has stepped on a branch. The hair stands up on the back of my neck as I slowly turn around and see a tall man wearing dark sunglasses and a hooded jacket. He does not smile, and I am afraid. Luckily, I knew enough self-defense moves to save my life. Okay, this paragraph and the previous one give us the same setting. They give us the same feelings of fear We can also feel what kind of beautiful day it is, and that the person this is happening to is unsuspecting. If I am reading your essay and I see words like I or my or me, I automatically internalize those as things that are happening to me. So I share your memory. You don't need to address me specifically because I am right there. This is the third person option for the rewrite of the original paragraph. Susan stood on the shores of the lake, feeling the crisp air and warm, gentle breeze blowing her hair. Flowers were beginning to bloom, and she could smell the sweet blossoms and fresh grass. She heard a soft crack behind her. Something or someone has stepped on a branch. The hair stands up on the back of Susan's neck, and she slowly turned around to see a tall man wearing dark sunglasses and a hooded jacket. He does not smile, and Susan trembles. Slowly pulling her fingers into fists, Susan immediately thinks about the self-defense moves she has learned. Okay, now we have a situation where Susan, who no one knows, is having a particular experience. Because the setting is described and we have the fictitious person of Susan and we see the she and her in this paragraph, we still share in her experience and we do internalize it as readers. So you've made the same point writing in third or first person that you would writing in second person.